Hello, everybody. This is Megan,
And this is Alana.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes.
Welcome.
Hello, welcome back. How was your rugby tournament?
It was good. My armpit got stepped on a little bit.
How does that happen? Good night. There's a little bruise on your armpit.
Ye-
You just were on the ground reaching for the ball, and
You never know. It's always like, I know I was on the ground at some point. Either I was getting tackled or I was tackling, and it just kind of happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I assume there were bunk beds.
Yep. Bunk beds, check.
Where our hotel is not available?
Well, we're trying to be cost effective because the team pays for it, which is really nice. I don't think that's normal, but I would pitch in a few more dollars.
Where are all these bunk beds being held?
In Airbnbs.
Oh, so they just
Yeah.
rent huge Airbnbs with bunk bed
Yes.
situations.
Yes, correct.
So some people get a regular bed.
Yes, some people get a regular bed, but
How do you score a regular bed? Do you have to be team captain?
I was there first, and so I was like, I did some calculations. I was like, I could get a regular bed, but I'd probably have to share it because we have so many people.
Oh, so that's not getting a bed.
Or I could get a bunk bed and have it on my own.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah,
calculations
okay.
there. I mean, people are on air mattresses as well. I cannot sleep well on an air mattress. My hips always hurt. God, I sound like 84.
Yeah, you should probably join a rugby team. All right. Well, if you're new to us,
Welcome.
if you're new here, we are a true crime podcast, but Alana hates true crime. So she brings a tea to keep
do.
her comforted. She doesn't know what's going to happen. I keep the crimes in her wheelhouse, which is
Yeah.
usually angry women.
Yeah.
And we go from there. Do you have a tea for us today?
Really quick.
Oh, sorry. There's more.
Last
Yes.
night when I was going to bed,
Yeah.
I was holding Tuzzie's paw,
Your kitty cat.
and then we shifted, and so I wasn't holding his paw,
Yes.
and then he put his paw in my hand.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, that was really special. Okay.
I'm not sure
tea.
we had to share it on the true crime podcast, but if that doesn't get you in the mood for murder, I don't know what does.
Okay. We have another Riddle Tea Shop tea, and this is Howl's Moving Tea House. It is Kingsbury, Earl Grey, and vanilla. So this is probably a Megan tea.
You said that with such criticism.
No, I would like it too. I'm just saying you love
It's probably
Earl
for that
Grey.
peasant Megan. Ugh.
Earl Grey is a fancy
With
tea.
such an
Okay, I'm the peasant.
Unrefined palate.
I'm the Irish breakfast.
Okay, calm down.
Smells like Earl Grey and vanilla. So sounds like she hit the notes there. Fuck, that's hot.
Whoa,
I just brewed it.
that has nothing to do with you, T. That's on the brewer.
That's not your fault. That's on me.
You could add some milk.
I added a dash, but I didn't steep it too long, so I couldn't add a lot because Earl Grey can't handle a lot of milk. Okay.
Oh, it can handle it.
Can handle half and half.
Yeah, it can handle a whole bunch of creamer. Trust me.
This tea is really good. I'm kind of iffy around vanilla, but it actually smooths it out and rounds it out. Like maybe if you're making a clay bowl, it helps do that rounding finish. The body is petite, of course, for an Earl Grey. I wonder if I steeped it a little longer if it gotten some better hips, but we are where we are. Still enjoyable in the morning, gives you a little kick of caffeine. I can taste it. Good on the bergamot. I think she balanced the tea beautifully. Sheesh. Oh, I don't know. How about a Megan thumbs up?
I approve. I would like it.
Yeah, you would.
Oh, wow, wonderful. I'd like to get some. All right. Don't send me. Now she's going to meet. Alana's so sweet. I know she sounds aggressive, but she's so sweet. Like as soon as I say that, I'll get something in the mail.
I'm
here's
a
the tea
mean,
you wanted.
awful friend. Don't talk to me.
All right. You ready for today?
Yes, stab me.
Well, I just keep pulling on threads and I can't let go. So we're going back to Ohio.
Okay.
Remember, we talked about Betty Butler last week.
Yep.
And she is the last woman in Ohio to be put to death.
Right.
But there were others before her. And I couldn't help but fall down rabbit holes as I was searching Betty Butler. And so I saved them for this week.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Anna Marie Hahn.
Ooh.
Anna Marie first came to the United States in 1929, and she was forced to come here by her parents. Anna had become pregnant and was not married.
Oops.
Gasp. So her parents forced her to go live with relatives in Cincinnati, Ohio, and leave her newborn son behind.
Where?
That's tough. In Germany.
Oh.
So she had to come to Ohio and stay with relatives. It was just this big scandal of an unwed mother, and they were hoping that nobody would know of the big scandal if she was in a new country. She was only 23 at the time, and wanting to get her son Oscar back, Anna quickly married Philip Hahn. Like Anna, he too is from Germany, and together they traveled back, got Oscar, and then returned to Ohio. So she was reunited with her son.
That's nice. What year is this again?
1929 that she was sent to
God,
Cincinnati.
is she steamboating around? Not steamboating, but that ship ride.
they had a canoe. It was really awkward.
Yeah, went to the Olympics.
It's not great. You can tell she really wanted her son.
Of course.
With her, right? I don't think everybody would have done that. I think there would have been some people at that time who said, it's probably better if he stays with my parents.
Yeah, that's fair. But also good to get out of Germany at that time, too.
At the time the couple had met, Philip was employed as a telephone operator, but with Anna, the family opened 2 bakeries in Cincinnati.
Oh, that's nice.
The business and the family were doing well.
Good.
Until they weren't. Just kidding.
Until the Great Depression.
But seriously, oh God, just
look,
stop talking
I
about
can't
it.
help where it's set. It matters.
I know. That's really my fault. That's on me. No more. I'm going to have a 20-year buffer for anything having to do with the Depression, because you seem to just give everybody a free pass. You say things like, oh, they murdered their whole family. Well, it was the Depression. So they, and it's like, that's not how it works. It's not exactly the same. Anyway, tragedy struck, or did it, as one of the bakeries burned to the ground.
Oh, no. Think of all the burnt hot cross buns.
Yeah, that's what my first concern, too, was the bread. But they received an insurance payout for the bakery being burned down, which is always
crime.
The gateway. Yep, she's testing that insurance system, isn't she? She's thinking, let me kick the tires on this policy and see what happens. Oh, that was some quick money, and I don't have to bake bread at 4 a.m. in the morning anymore. Yeah. This might be awesome.
They're going to lose your good forearms.
Yeah, again, her priorities. Coincidentally, I am sure, around that time, Anna also broached the idea to Philip that he should take out a life insurance policy of his own to protect her and Oscar should something happen.
Uh-huh.
Philip refused.
Oh.
Way to go, Phil.
He's sniffing the
Good
smoke.
job, Phil. Anna let the matter drop, but on the heels of this disagreement, Philip became ill.
Oh, no. Mixing. Oh, I love this. Mixing techniques.
Yeah, well, that's always what they do, right?
Sorry, I shouldn't get into this.
Anna insisted on caring for him at home.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a doctor. I'm here.
You just need some arsenic.
Eat some more bread. Yeah. But the original Mrs. Hahn, Philip's mother, forcibly removed him and brought him to the hospital and saved his life.
Good mama.
Yeah. Philip survived, and with a new lease on life, he left Anna.
Bye. What about Oscar?
Bye. Well, he didn't adopt Oscar. Oscar stayed with Anna. I don't think Anna's letting Oscar go. I will say this. For what's about to unfold, Anna seems to love her son. Okay. So Oscar's okay.
Okay.
A lot of other men are less okay, but Oscar's okay.
Okay.
All right. She's now unmarried with a young son to support, and I assume she's not welcome back at the bakery.
Yeah.
Anna found work as a nurse.
Oh, no.
So you might be wondering how she had time to attend nursing school, but she did not.
Skip that part.
Have any training. or any experience.
Dear God.
She just had unbelievable charm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is it called these days? Riz. Is that what it's
I
called?
can't believe you said that. Yeah, it is. She's got the Riz. Gen Z's going to turn this podcast off right now. Don't leave us.
Or they're going to turn it up.
Yeah.
I don't think Gen Z is listening, to be honest with you.
It would be interesting. I wish we could see the age groups. We can only see like the countries and cities.
Well, I tried. And it was effective.
No cap.
Her charisma. That's how it came.
Yeah.
Before 1932 came to an end, Anna was employed for Ernst Kohler. Ernst is a tough name. It feels like it's missing some vowels. But Ernst was a huge fan of Anna. So much so that he willingly added her to his will in 1933, leaving Anna his house.
Whoa.
Oh, Ernst.
Talk about Riz.
Yeah, a lot of it. Ernst died shortly after on May 6th. And Anna, who had known the man less than a year, took care of all the funeral arrangements, seeing that Ernst was cremated and kept on the mantle of her new home.
Oh.
So, an homage to Ernst.
Wow. It's almost like Knives Out, but in a bad way. Great movie if you haven't seen it.
For some time, all was quiet in Anna's life, apparently, at least that we know of. Because I guess her and Oscar had a new home for a minute, But by 1936, Anna decided she needed to find a new job. Now she actually has caregiving experience, so that's going to look great on the resume.
There you go.
She was able to find work with Albert Parker. Somehow Albert agreed to lend Anna, who'd been working there less than 2 months, $4,000.
Whoa.
This is in 1936, okay?
It's a lot of money.
A ton of money. Yeah. And they made a contract for Anna to pay this back. Albert died March 27th with not a penny of that being paid back.
I wonder how he died.
Yeah, I don't know. Deciding she needed a bigger payout for her con and not loving the nursing field, she decided to switch gears a little bit. Anna told her next mark, Jacob Wagner, that she was his long-lost niece. Damn nieces, they're back.
The nieces are back!
Although the 78-year-old was skeptical of this story, he was lonely. And he really liked the company and the thought that he might actually have a niece who would visit and pay attention. He left her $17,000 in his will.
Holy shit!
Before his death on June 3rd, 1937.
This girl's rolling.
I know. Up until now, no one is sus, except maybe Philip. But he's not in Anna's life, so he's not there connecting the dots, right? He's run. However, Jacob had a friend who brought their concerns to the police.
Oh.
And at the time, the police said, he's 78. They did an autopsy. He died of heart disease. There's nothing we can do. You're just sad about your friend. I assume she was feeling rather pleased with herself because she moved quickly and started caring for George Gesselman. And poor George died on July 6, 1937, just a month after Jacob.
She's getting too greedy and too fast.
Yep, but not before leaving Anna $15,000.
Bro.
Like Jacob, George had people in his life who were also suspicious, and they urged police to investigate.
It's not going to end well.
But short of exhuming the body, there's again no evidence that the police can point to justify that decision.
Yeah.
Anna always has something on the back burner. She had been dating another George at the time she was conning George Gesselman. So George Oberndorfer was almost 70 years old. She's dating him. And she convinces this George to take her and Oscar on a vacation to Colorado. Unfortunately, George became very ill on the train ride there.
I wonder
and when they arrived at I know, it's super suspicious. When they arrived at the Park Hotel, he needed help just getting to his room. Assuming George did not have long to live, Anna took off with anything of value and left George to die.
No, it's not the way to do it.
On August 1st, 1937, George passed away. The staff had gotten him to a hospital, and the doctors ruled his cause of death to be arsenic poisoning.
Yes.
Tale as old as time.
Yep.
Not adept at being a criminal on the run, Anna had left a super easy trail for investigators to follow. She had signed her real name on the hotel registry.
Good job.
She had talked to several of the hotel staff, and a woman fitting her description with a young boy were seen all over pawn shops in Colorado. So once Cincinnati catches word of this, they have what they need now to exhume the bodies of Jacob Wagner and the first George,
Blech.
both of whom were proven to have been poisoned with croton oil, which in small doses was used medicinally during the 1930s as a purgative.
I'm sure it was.
But in high doses, it can cause death, and a painful one.
Mm.
Anna was arrested, and the story hit the papers with the media calling her Arsenic Anna.
Oh, nice.
Nice alliteration. Or the beautiful blonde killer.
Okay.
I know.
Boring.
Get it together. Also, none of these women ever look blonde in the papers. I'm like, she's clearly a brunette.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know how black and white pictures change blondes.
Maybe.
Anyway, once the details were out, Philip caught wind and was like, oh, actually, this all makes sense.
Oh.
He confirmed his belief that Anna had tried to kill him before the divorce, and he'd even preserved a bottle of this oil that she'd had in the house and he'd taken from her.
Oh.
And then a third George came forward, claiming that in 1936, he'd hired Anna briefly as a caretaker, but fired her when the drink she brought him instantly killed a fly that landed on the mug.
Oh.
Yeah. So who knows how many others there are like that.
Seriously.
Who didn't have a friendly fly sacrifice their life or died and nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
A search of Anna's home had also unearthed, quote, enough poison to kill half of Cincinnati.
Holy shit. She's gotten so much money. She should have just done it. I mean, she shouldn't have done it all, but she's doing it just once.
Well, just burn down another bakery. Charged with only the death of Jacob Wagner, Anna's trial started in October of 1937. Shockingly, the jury was composed of almost all women, which I thought was really weird. There's only one man.
Good for you.
I know. Like, too progressive. You overcorrected.
Mm-hmm.
The state had a pretty good case, even without bringing up the other suspicious deaths, which they did for good measure anyway. But Jacob had far too much arsenic in his body to be explained away. The amounts found would have killed him 4 times over. 2, Anna had the financial motivation, having been given $17,000 when he died.
That's so much money.
It did not help her that the will was also thought to be a forgery. An expert claimed not only was the handwriting not Jacob's, but it was Anna's.
I was wondering when that would come in for any of these, because especially like one so fast.
Yeah, I agree. The George with the dead fly also was called as a witness, and poison was found in Anna's house. Pretty good evidence that she did it. The defense, this is what they've got. Anna said she didn't do it. That's it.
Wow. Promote that attorney.
Not a super strong strategy.
Jeez.
It took only 2 hours, and that seems long, for the jury to find Anna guilty of murder and no recommendation for mercy, which, like Betty, meant that Anna would automatically face the death penalty.
Yeah.
And Anna would then be the first woman in the state of Ohio to be put to death by electrocution. But the only other female who'd been executed up until this point was hanged in 1844.
Right.
The story of Hester Foster is rarely mentioned, and several sources will name Anna Hahn as the first woman to be executed in the state of Ohio, but she's the first to be electrocuted in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
They often leave out Hester. But the site, the Columbus Underground, featured an article by Bucky Cutright, and it's a good read. Go check it out. It sums up the only account of Hester's life, which is a small pamphlet that had been tucked away in a library for like over 150 years.
Yeah.
That Hester had written about the incident herself. So I'm going to summarize it here, but again, go check out the article. It's got a little bit more in depth. Hester was born in December of 1821 and moved to Cincinnati at a young age. She first found herself in prison for aiding in an assault, rape, and attempted murder. She was sentenced to 20 years. Now, Hester's version of events is that after her own twin children were murdered, she started drinking heavily and often. One of those drunken nights, she ran into friends who then ran into other friends who ended up beating and raping a woman that they were with. And according to Hester, she was a very reluctant witness to this and had no participation in the crime.
Yeah, but you didn't help either.
Well, we don't know the details. Was she being threatened? Was her life being threatened? Was she able to do anything? I don't know. Either way, that is not what put Hester to death. In the spring of 1843, Louisa White, Hester's prison nemesis, walked up to Hester and another walked up to Hester and another inmate, Eveline Jones. Louisa had a shovel in her hand and started beating Eveline severely.
Whoa.
Hester yelled at Louisa, why are you doing this? What are you here for? To which Louisa replied, for murder.
Oh.
Hester said, you got it, picked up her own weapon and hit Louisa 2 times until she fell down the stairs. Then Eveline got it together, came to, and then took a shovel and started beating Louisa at the bottom of the stairs, and Louisa died.
Oh, no.
For this, Hester Foster was sentenced to death. Just Hester.
What? What about Louisa? I mean, Eveline.
Exactly. It's very likely that Eveline was actually the one who murdered Louisa. And also,
what the fuck?
I think an argument for self-defense could also be made.
Man, maybe they didn't have security cameras.
But on February 9th, 1844, 22-year-old Hester was put to death in front of a crowd estimated to be as large as 20,000 people.
What? No.
Hester's last words were inaudible through tears, and she fell to her knees in prayer.
That's so gross.
So the Columbus Underground claims Hester can still be seen today at the Columbus Cultural Arts Center as a ghost, which stands at the place of her execution.
Never going.
Well, obviously we knew that. So I doubt Anna knew this history at the time of her verdict, but it is a very ugly story to have to follow. And it's the only story of a woman being put to death on Ohio's books. Anna continued to maintain her innocence at every turn and begged her lawyers to save her life with appeals. Like many of these cases, they went all the way to the governor. But no pardon came. And Anna's date with death was set for December 7th, 1938.
I mean, she killed so many people.
Now, Anna had seemed cool, calm, and collected during the trial, but she started to unravel ever since the sentence had been handed out. And with each lost appeal, she became increasingly emotional.
I mean, yeah.
She left her last meal of chicken untouched, and she waited for that final reprieve that never came. On the morning of the 7th, Anna was inconsolable. She had to say goodbye to her son that afternoon.
Oh, no.
Upon seeing the room in which she was about to die, she fainted. When she came to, she struggled and pleaded with the prison warden to spare her life, saying, quote, please don't. Can't you think of my boy? Can't you think of my baby? Do something. Somebody. Any one of you. Isn't there anyone who is going to help me? Without a word of response, a hood was placed over Anna's head.
Oh, God.
I know. And I didn't realize this, but for Anna's execution, they made a note that there were actually 3 switches to turn on the electric chair, and they had 3 different people hit them, so you didn't know which one actually did it. 2 of the switches were dead. Just like a firing squad.
Oh, that's nice for the people killing her.
I suppose. Once the hood was on Anna's head, the warden tried to calm her down by telling her to start to pray, and Anna repeated the Lord's Prayer with her dying breath. Now, after Anna's death, the press published a confession written by Anna herself. Get this, she had sold it to them under one condition, that they pay for Oscar's schooling and not reveal his whereabouts because he'd been placed with a foster family. The paper held up their end of the bargain.
Oh, I was hoping, just never know.
So she truly loved her son.
Yeah, but she got carried away.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Let's say for a second she was innocent, which I don't believe, but let's say she was. This confession, it would have been something that wouldn't have mattered if she was innocent or guilty because it was published after her death and it was a way to keep her son protected.
Yeah.
But I think she's guilty.
Yeah, absolutely. This feels very different than Eleanor also in the 30s, trying to get money for her.
Oh yeah, this is Jolly
family.
Jane. This is a problem.
Yeah. This is like, I have found a calling where I can convince people that they should give me money and then I can just get rid of them. And it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, or arsenic squeezy rather.
Yeah, it's very stereotypical of all of our other poisoners. Now, we know from last week that Betty Butler was put to death June 11th, 1954. And like I said, she's the last woman in Ohio to be put to death. But we also know that Betty shared death row with another inmate, Dovie Dean.
What's her name?
Dovie Dean.
Dovie. Wow. more superhero names. Gosh.
Well, they got lost.
They're on death row.
And although, yeah, Betty and Dovie share death row, Dovie has a lot in common with Arsenic Anna.
Ah.
Yeah. So Dovie Blanche Dean was married very young to a despicable man.
Blech.
A husband who in 1952 was still in prison. And according to the Cincinnati Enquirer, he was serving time for, quote, raping a daughter.
No.
I assume that means their daughter. I don't know why they said it like that, but I assume that means
Castrate him.
His daughter with Dovie. Even more heartbreaking is that same daughter died years later during childbirth. And then Dovie lost another son to a freak explosion.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
Even with just those sparse details, we can tell that Dovie is not starting out life super easy.
She's had a trauma-filled life. Fuck.
Yeah. In her 50s, Dovie moved from West Virginia to Ohio to live with her daughter. And Dovie had agreed to take care of her daughter's home because that had been her work before she had been employed as a domestic servant and taking care of run houses. It was in Ohio that she met Hawkins Dean, who lived on a 115-acre farm.
Wow, that's a big one.
So Dovie obtained a divorce from her first husband. They were still married that whole time on April 11th, 1952, and married Hawkins on April 13th. According to Dovie, this was not a passionate love affair. She said, he wanted a housekeeper and I wanted a home. That it is what it is.
And yeah, you got to make arrangements.
Yeah. By August 22nd, Hawkins was dead. Now, Hawkins' daughter, May, had taken her father to the hospital that summer and then stayed on to care for him for an additional week until he improved from a stomach ailment. Shortly after she left, Hawkins became sick again.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Upon his death, May insisted on an autopsy. May's instincts were, of course, right on, and a lethal amount of arsenic was found in Hawkins' body. Police searched for further evidence and found a bottle of arsenic rat poison in Clyde Bryant's car. Clyde was Dovie's son-in-law.
Oh.
Clyde said he had no recollection or any idea how the poison could have ended up in his car. He was found with essentially the murder weapon.
Yeah.
So he was brought to the police station along with Dovie and along with Dovie's son, Carl Myers Jr., who lived with her and Hawkins.
Oh, okay.
Once brought in for questioning, the lie detector tests were given out to everybody. They didn't need the test, though, because Dovie told them that Carl Jr. did it. When police confronted Carl with this news, he was beside himself, insisting that he had nothing to do with the murder. Since Carl Jr. had passed not one, not two, but 3 lie detector tests, the police were inclined to agree with Carl. So the sheriff went back to Dovie and said, if a mother can make such a charge against her son, wouldn't she be capable of killing? Don't you want to change your story?
Whoa.
Dovie was quiet for a moment and responded with, and take the blame myself? Yes, I want to change my story.
Whoa.
Yeah, so with this change in confession, Dovie now said that she gave Hawkins the arsenic through glasses of milk because they had been having terrible fights. Ready? Due to the fact that Hawkins was unable to perform his husbandly duties.
Whoa.
Yeah. And these fights had become violent. And Dovie said, quote, I got him before he got me. Dovie claimed Hawkins was so angry about failing at the husbandly duties, he threatened to kill both of them. Despite this confession, Dovie entered a plea of not guilty. And the trial was set to start the following month. However, it was delayed because Dovie had to receive a psychiatric evaluation, which she passed, and then the trial began in December of 1953. Dovie's lawyers are adamant that she did not kill Hawkins. Their best strategy is to hold on to the shadow of a doubt by introducing a whole host of suspects that could have done it. Really, anybody who was in the Dean home during that month could have done it. The state, of course, disagrees and is pushing for the death penalty. Dr. Frank Cleveland, the coroner, and also the coroner who testified at Betty's trial, said that the effects of arsenic were found in Hawkins' autopsy, and there were other experts who said the same thing. The prosecution also has Dovie's confession, which the defense is saying was taken under duress, and because of that, they attempted to have it completely removed. They did not succeed, though, and the confession was entered word for word, and the Cincinnati Enquirer printed the following excerpt. This is Dovie's words. I placed a few drops of zip rat poison in Mr. Dean's milk on Tuesday noon, August 5th, 1952. And again on Wednesday morning, August 6th, I gave Mr. Dean a few drops and some fresh, warm milk from the cow. I gave Mr. Dean a few more drops and about half a glass of milk Tuesday, August 19th. Further stated, I gave Mr. Dean some zip and milk that evening and some more zip rat poison and milk on Thursday a.m., August 21st. Isn't that a weird confession?
It's very specific.
It's too specific. I feel like nobody talks like that. And also, why is she calling him Mr. Dean?
I don't know.
It just seemed really weird. This confession seems, it is doing its job by saying she did it.
Yeah.
But again, the defense is saying, well, this isn't true. It was taken under duress. She was forced to give this. Dovie claims that she was given only one choice, her or her son, to which she said, if it's between Carl and me, then I'll take the rap. The prosecution was also playing up the angle that after Hawkins' death, Dovie threw this big party to celebrate, like a couple days later.
Really?
And Dovie and her children denied that, saying they had been visiting their mother and that a prowler had been on the property and Dovie had fired 2 warning shots at him.
Whoa.
Because the neighbors were creating this story of the family was getting together and being loud and like shooting guns.
Yeah.
Like, the kids say that's not true. Dovie herself took the stand explaining the reason for her confession, but she showed no emotion. Oh, Dovie. Creating the title of Dovie Dean, the Ice Queen.
Yep. Here we go.
Also known as the woman who doesn't cry.
God forbid.
And so as much as her confession, this trait helped seal Dovie's fate. She was so stoic that people wondered if she even had tear ducts.
Wow.
Dovie explained it by saying, years ago, I couldn't have faced all these people at all, but I asked God to help me. I had grief inside like knives.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She also alluded to the fact that she had shut down after burying 2 of her children and had not been able to cry since then.
I mean, that happens to people.
Which is probably 100% accurate. In under an hour, Dovie Dean was found guilty without recommendation for mercy, meaning she too would be put on death row to face the same fate as Anna and at the same time as Betty.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't mention this last week, but the Catholic priest who gave Betty a pet parakeet also gave one to Dovie. Yeah, and she named hers Charlie.
Cute.
Now, like Betty, appeals were exhausted and the governor was ultimately asked to review the case, but he refused. Dovie spent the rest of her time quietly doing puzzles, crocheting, and reading the Bible. For her last meal, Dovie Dean had roast chicken, asparagus, green salad, coconut custard pie, and angel food cake. Dovie remained composed throughout the process, never shedding a tear or giving away any sign of emotion. She gave her parakeet to another inmate who had a life sentence. And unlike Anna, she did not make a sound or break at the time of her execution. At 8:07 on January 15th, 1954, 6 months before Betty Butler, Dovie Dean was pronounced dead.
Cannot imagine.
Can you imagine Betty knowing that's her fate and having to be there?
Yeah, that's rough.
That's very tough.
Rough. Oh, man.
What do you think? So if we go through the 3 other women besides Betty, we know Betty was guilty, right? But if we go through the 3 other women, do you think Dovie was guilty? Do you think it's possible it was Carl Jr.?
I think it's possible because, I mean, it sounds like she'd probably do anything to protect him. It could be. It could be that he did it, but why? I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I wish we had more insight into their relationship. Was Hawkins really violent? Was this something they made up? Why was the poison found in the son-in-law's car?
I know. Like maybe deposited to try to frame him.
Was this just some harebrained scheme to try and get Dovie control of the farm and get money?
Maybe.
And they were all in on it, or they were in on it and Dovie didn't know, or it was like a Vera Carl situation and they just wanted the money themselves maybe.
She didn't wait very long.
Not long at all.
Right? Wasn't it, you said married the 13th and he died the 22nd or something like that?
Of April. Yeah, they got married in April and he died August 22nd.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's possible, but I also think Dovie knew about it at the very least.
Yeah.
But it also feels very different than Anna.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely feels different.
But these poisoners are almost always serial poisoners too. But
right. I mean, if she didn't get caught, would she have kept
done
doing
it again?
Or would she have just lived happily on her farm by herself?
I know we don't get to see that group of poisoners very often because they either are caught like Dovie or they, don't do it again and you don't know about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
You can't tell. Dovie's more complicated to me than Anna because Dovie had all of that terrible trauma happen, and it almost felt like, I don't know anything about Hawkins, but it almost felt like it was misplaced anger and aggression based off everything that happened to her before, and Hawkins just got the brunt of it.
Yeah.
She was like, I can't do this again, or I can't take another
She finally has power
moment of this.
Right. Maybe she got triggered in some way.
That's not right, and that's not correct, obviously, but she just feels different than Anna. Anna just seems to enjoy it.
Yeah. That was a serial situation, and she did not need to keep doing that.
What's so fascinating for people, too, is that somebody can commit such a terrible crime, and then when they interact with them, they're not terrible people.
Yeah, and that's very jarring.
Very confusing. Like, if you went to visit Dovie in prison, she looked like a grandmother.
Gosh.
She looked like a grandmother. She was reading the Bible, crocheting. She's not going to throw herself at the bars. And, like Lizzie Halliday, we covered The Worst Woman in the World. Lizzie acted the part all the time. She was always doing something. She was always trying to hurt somebody. She was always attacking somebody. But if you had gone to visit Dovie, she would have just been sitting there very quietly doing a puzzle and talking about her grandkids. It's very confusing for folks.
Right. Exactly.
I think Hester is probably the one who did not deserve the death penalty because that
was a weird situation.
Again, we have very little details, but at the very least, it seems that there's a really good case made that Hester was not the one that murdered Louisa, that it was actually the other inmate. And also, again, self-defense should have been brought to the table because Louisa came in attacking them.
Yeah. Really weird.
Also, for the first trial, like, why was she even there? What happened? Was her life threatened? Was she just not interfere? If she had interfered, would she have survived? There's a whole lot of gray area in both of Hester's cases.
Yeah, just not enough information.
And her being put to death was a public event. I think that woman had a lot of injustice happen to her in her short life.
So gross.
And people forget about her. People will often say Anna's the first, and that's not true.
Yeah. So that crime happened in the prison yard, right?
So yeah, somewhere in the prison.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't have cameras. So I wonder if Eveline was like, she did it. She did all of this and just framed Hester.
I'm not sure. There's no record of Eveline. It's very possible that maybe Eveline died from her injuries. Maybe Eveline also didn't survive because Eveline was attacked first. So we don't know. There's no record of what happened to her. She might not have survived. Maybe she died before any charges could be brought to her of other things. I mean, she could have been sick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe it was also a wild injustice and Eveline was let go. But I have a hard time believing Eveline just got off scot-free in that situation. She probably didn't survive is my best guess.
If only they were with Helen Hazard.
Helen would have helped them.
Yeah.
Well, Anna needs to stay under lock and key.
Correct. But she should not be let go.
Yeah. The poisoners are real tough to rehabilitate, in my opinion.
Yeah. Especially those ones.
It's just too easy.
Yeah. They just slip back into it.
I know.
She got so much money.
So much. And that was 1930s money.
So much. Exactly.
And she got a house.
Yeah. Like, just stop, dude.
I do have to say she is unusual in the fact that she did not hurt her son. We almost always, those poisoners will start off hurting the men and then they'll dip into their own family.
Yep.
And she did not do that.
She really was doing it for the money. She got, I think that's where the thrill was, not the killing. But the killing was obviously easy for her.
She must have liked it in some sense. And again, with those folks, we always never know the full impact because there's so many people who will come forward later who say things like, well, I had tea with her once and I had a stomachache for a week afterwards.
Yeah.
Where all these like little incidences of just making people ill, or somebody dodged a bullet like Philip, that people don't realize that they almost died because you're not going to go to the doctor and be able to tell that it's from arsenic because you didn't ingest arsenic, as far as you know. Yikes.
Oh,
I was interested in covering Anna's case because her plea in the final moments of her life is something that really is the crux of the death penalty. Anna did terrible things and hurt a lot of people, but it's still hard to face the fact that a human being is begging for their life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still
It's
hard
so
to know if you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because she would prefer to know and live for her son, even if it's in prison.
Yeah, just keep her in prison. This is my vote.
So it's tough. But all right, what are your last words?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, just don't get greedy. Should have stopped after the burned bakery. That's it. No more.
Or just, your bakery was doing well.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get greedy. Just live your life. I mean, I know the 30s is hard, but your bakery was doing well. And that's can't be said for everybody. She definitely has, I feel like, some sociopathic traits. Obviously, if you're a serial killer. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that.
Yeah. Good bet,
But yeah, like it's always, even when people don't do like serial killing or they'll just do a string of these crimes, it's just like you're always going to get caught when you get too greedy. Like just live life. Live, laugh, love, not murder.
Live, laugh, love, eat bread.
Yes, exactly.
Come on, Anna.
Come on. Really disappointed. I mean, just make sure everywhere has security cameras, I guess, for your prison.
Pretty hard to do in the times we were in.
Yes, correct.
But nowadays,
get those hooked up.
Oh. All right. And who should listen?
That's icky. Bakers. Was there must have been a big German immigrant population in Ohio, huh?
Yeah.
Gotta look into that. It's cool.
Oh, jeez. What are you gonna look into about it?
I just want to know. I wonder if it's because like the dip in between the two world wars, right? Like, was it really increased during the 30s when like Hitler was getting on his feet again? Anyways, I mean, Germans, if you want. I was gonna say executioners, people who turn on the switches, but they don't do that anymore. I think that is a cool idea, but you can't do that with lethal injection. When they all turn on a switch, but they don't know who did it.
Oh, I wonder if that helps.
But lethal injection is probably just a doctor, right?
I would think, yeah.
That's tough. Ohioans, this is a good piece of history for you. Hester was the first.
Yeah, and you can go see her ghost, apparently.
I feel like it'd be a very sad ghost.
Well, yeah, she's not happy.
Well, Casper was.
Casper wasn't executed in front of 20,000 people. Do we know Casper's backstory?
I was a little too scared to watch that as a kid.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Bro, I can't.
With Christina Ricci?
Yeah.
The Christina Ricci 1990s
I eventually
Casper?
watched it. The concept was scary, but once you get into the movie, it's not, because he's the friendly ghost and he doesn't look real. He looks like a marshmallow.
And in that movie, they gave him a backstory.
Which one?
And that Casper the Ghost, because that's not the obviously original Casper the Ghost. Casper the Ghost was I think a cartoon in the 50s. But that Casper the Ghost movie, they gave Casper a backstory to his death, which was that he got sick and died, and his father was a mad scientist who tried to bring him back to life.
Oh.
Yeah, I've watched that movie a time or two.
Let that be a lesson. It never goes well when you try to bring things back to life. Think of Frankenstein's monster.
Well, you shouldn't say that to the person who invented the defibrillator or CPR.
That's fair.
I mean, they did it.
They did. So, yeah, good job. I wonder how do you think someone was accidentally electrocuted one time and they came back and they're like, oh shit, this works.
You think all the stars aligned one day and they're like, whoa, did you guys catch that? Wow. I mean, Tim's dead now, but he came back for a second when he touched that live wire. We should try this. Let's harness this power.
Yeah.
They're probably like Dr. Smith, who is just real curious, and they casually electrocuted a gentleman, something like that. Yeah. Casper the Friendly Ghost first appeared in 1945.
Wow. What was the 1990s
just a comic book
film I watched? Was it is that the one you watched?
Yeah, with Christina Ricci.
Okay.
Yeah, that just came out when we were kids, and it was like bringing Casper back, but giving him a little bit more.
Yeah,
going on. I mean, I don't know if he had uncles in the original comic book.
Did you have friends who had crushes on Casper? I always thought that was weird.
No. Oh wait, when he turned into a human? Yes.
Oh, I forgot about that part, but that's always disappointing.
I love that you've spent the last 25 years thinking that people were attracted to ghosts because you forgot he turned into a human. That tracks perfectly
with people.
with your absolute dislike for Beauty and the Beast when he turns into a human and you have a crush on the Beast.
Everybody's disappointed. Everybody is. You're going to turn from a beast to a fucking pretty boy? What is this? I'm out.
Oh, so Casper is your type? I have a really pale friend who you might be interested in. And they're like, no, I like Devin Sawa. Come on. I think that's his name. I'm really reaching back into the 90s. All right, we got to go. If you're still listening, I don't know how you did it. You can find us on all the platforms at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com.
Please rate, review, like, subscribe, send us recommendations for teas, crimes, and your favorite 1990s movies. Thank you.
Ooh, yeah.
And goodbye.
Give Casper a kiss.